In the battling realm, a vast number of lizardman warriors abandoned their initial targets, setting their sights on Lin instead. The shadow screamed atop the blood moon. Countless lizardman warriors, tainted by the abyssal power, charged towards Lin. The onlookers stared unblinkingly. A faint smirk graced Lin's lips. He was glowing, indicated that he has leveled up. Lin's sudden level up caught the attention of many. Only then did they realize that slaying these monsters tainted by abyssal power yielded experience. They found it hard to believe that Lin was using these powerful monsters to level. They also felt fortunate to have Lin on their side. Without him, they would have been doomed. With a mere thought, the corpses of 5 lizardman warriors were thrown into the sky. The shadow on the blood moon seemed to understand this was it. Surprisingly, it didn't roar in anger or scream. Instead, it let out a chilling laugh. He called out Lin's name and said he would remember Lin's name. He claimed that when Lin ventures into the abyss, this king will ensure Lin receives a warm welcome. Lin did not respond, rather ignoring him. Corpses rocketed towards the blood moon, followed by a massive explosion. Amidst the deafening blast, the shadow let out a final scream before being obliterated. The blood moon shattered like broken glass, disappearing without a trace. And just like that, the battling realm returned to its usual state. Outside the trial tower, the elderly man once again wore an expression of shock. He said that the abyssal power has been eradicated, and the battling realm has returned to normal. He followed up by the students were safe, and there weren't any casualties. White Divine was slightly confused. Things had turned out in a manner entirely different from what he had expected. Very few things could surprise him now. White Divine yearned to know what exactly had transpired within the battling realm. Before that, he wanted to make sure all of the kids exited the battling realm and returned home safely. Inside the battling realm, the blood moon vanished, and the ground gradually reverted to normal. Charlotte whispered, asking Lin if everything was over. Her face was slightly pale, still shaken from earlier. If it weren't for Lin, she believed she might already be dead. Lin nodded in response, telling her it was over. Although he didn't offer any comforting words, that simple answer was enough to set Charlotte's heart at ease. Within the realm, the other students were still in a state of shock. Earlier, when the lizardman warriors were hunting them down, they had run for their lives, utterly powerless against the onslaught. Thankfully, there was Lin. White Divine's voice echoed once more. He announced that the power of the abyss had vanished, and the battling realm had returned to normal. The students would be transported back to their original examination area. Lin appeared at the entrance of the trial tower, along with Charlotte, May, Richard, and Feng. Their scores were distinct from the other students, and would be assigned by the Empire's higher-ups directly. Although Elder Ning was clueless about what had transpired within the battling realm, he was eager to see what evaluation Lin would receive. Many of the top powerhouses of the Empire began retracing the events inside the battling realm. From the moment Lin and the others entered the trail tower, their every action was under scrutiny. Through this retrospection, what happened inside became clear. They realized that it was Lin who turned the tide. Many have acknowledged Lin's necromancer class was extremely powerful, and throughout the entire exam and after encountering the demon from the abyss, Lin remained calm and composed. Many of them now see Lin as someone with the potential to become a top-tier powerhouse in the future. Words of high praise flowed freely, all directed at Lin. They were uncertain about how to score him. One powerhouse with a temper snapped, questioning the worth of those who fled, labeling them as cowards who would likely desert the battlefield in real wars. Yet another defended, noting they were still mere teenagers. In the past, these students were the pride of their respective schools. Each one, being top of their province, has unique talents and classes in their own right. However, this year, due to Lin's presence, their performance seemed overshadowed. As everyone waited, the final scores were finally announced. A massive screen shimmered in the sky. At the top of the screen it wrote, "Lin, evaluation score, excellent." The entire arena was in an uproar. Principal Liu jumped in excitement, his face flushed as though he was about to have a stroke. Number 1, top scorer of the province. Principal Lu's fingers trembled with overwhelming excitement. His student had clinched the top position in the province. For Principal Lu, this was an immense honor. Other principals congratulated him from the sidelines. Charlotte smiled, congratulating Lin, saying Lin got the top score in the province. At this moment, the usual competitive spark was absent from Charlotte's eyes. She had no urge to compete or compare with Lin. Lin responded with a smile. "Thank you." Charlotte looked at him in surprise. She couldn't believe that Lin could smile. Charlotte complimented Lin looks quite good when he smiles. She wondered why Lin doesn't smile more often. She seemed as if she had stumbled upon a discovery. Soon, the score for the second place was revealed. Charlotte, evaluation score, excellent. With Lin's spectacular achievement leading the way, Charlotte's points didn't stir as much commotion. But Principal Lu's excitement surged once more. The principals nearby cast envious glances his way. Not only did the top scorer belong to Principal Lu's school, but the second place did as well. The envy was palpable. Soon, all the other students' names became appearing on the screen. Feng, evaluation score, excellent. Mei, evaluation score, excellent. Richard, evaluation score, poor. Richard's face paled, taken aback by his evaluation. This evaluation effectively shattered his hopes for a place in Xiajing Academy. "Why? Why was he graded poor?" he screamed out loud. "This isn't fair! You're all biased!" Unable to hold back any longer, Richard shouted in fury. Suddenly, a beam of light enveloped him, and he disappeared instantly. A deep voice said, "Richard has violated the exam rules. Expelled." One by one, the rankings were announced. Gao Yang also jumped up in excitement. Amid the applause, the voice of the examiner echoed again. "The Empire has issued a decree. Lin is the top scorer of this year's final examination, nationwide." Principal Lu leaped up once again, a blaze shooting from the top of his head. He was so thrilled that he was practically steaming. For a moment, he was so overwhelmed he couldn't even articulate his feelings. He couldn't believe his ears. Outside the trial tower, the applause was deafening. Everyone was proud of Lin. Mei and Feng approached together. Both congratulated Lin and also expressed their gratitude and hoped to invite Lin for dinner once they all entered Xiajing Academy. Lin shook their hands and simply said okay. The mood gradually became a tad awkward instantly. Charlotte quickly tried to lighten the mood, saying Lin isn't much of a talker. They've been classmates for 3 years, and she thinks they haven't exchanged more than 10 sentences in total. Lin corrected her. 26 sentences. Both Feng and Mei burst out laughing. It seemed that Lin also had a quirky sense of humor. Back home, Lin looked at the photo frame and told his grandmother that he had become the top scorer in the nation, and that he was soon going to the Xiajing Academy to see his sister. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Given the quietness of the night, it was an unexpected visitor. When he opened the door, he saw Principal Lu, but there was also another person with him, someone Lin didn't recognize. Upon seeing this stranger, Lin felt a chill run down his spine. The newcomer exuded a terrifying aura, so powerful that Lin found it hard to breathe. However, he didn't hesitate. His skeletal warrior materialized in front of him, shielding him from any potential harm. The mysterious visitor complimented Lin on his quick reflexes. While Lin couldn't see the visitor's face, he recognized the voice. The tension he felt immediately dissipated. With reverence, Lin bowed to the visitor and greeted White Divine. White Divine laughed, quite pleased with Lin's response. He had seen Lin in the battling realm. Now, face to face, White Divine was even more impressed with him. Lin was calm and composed. Every instinctual reaction he displayed earned him full marks in White Divine's eyes. White Divine's gaze swept across the room, noting its simple furnishings. Many parts of the house looked worn out. Lin invited the duo into the room and poured tea for both of them. Principal Lu explained Lin's sister went to the Xiajing Academy last year, leaving him to live alone. For such a household to produce 2 prodigies was indeed rare. White Divine praised as he looked at Lin. On their way here, he had already heard from Principal Lu about Lin, learning that he was a man of few words. Seeing him now, it truly was so. He thought perhaps it was this very nature that granted him a calmness surpassing his peers. White Divine glanced at the skeletal warrior. At his level, there was no need to deliberately use detection spells. He could see through the skeletal warrior. He said the attribute of 250 looked rather underwhelming. He couldn't understand how Lin had achieved such feats in the battling realm. Hearing White Divine's words, a realization suddenly dawned on Lin. He noticed that his talent bonus couldn't be perceived by others. What others saw were only the basic attributes of the skeletal warrior. White Divine continued, asking, "What talent has Lin awakened?" Lin replied softly, saying his talent is amplification, amplifying all skills. White Divine nodded. It's evident from Lin's performance in the battling realm. White Divine didn't press further. Instead, he shifted the topic. He is here for 2 reasons. First, to reward Lin. Normally, this reward would be given after Lin has entered the academy, but since he is here, White Divine brought it with him. The second is to take him directly to the academy. White Divine said, "There's a trial in 2 days, and he hoped Lin can participate." White Divine got straight to the point. When Lin inquired about the nature of the trial, White Divine explained, "It's an internal trial within our Xiajing Academy. Only the in-house students participate. He can provide more details only if Lin agrees to join." Lin felt something unusual. By saying he hoped Lin would participate, it indicated that the trial wasn't mandatory. The decision to participate was ultimately up to him. Lin pondered over White Divine's words. No matter the circumstance, he would always be cautious and analyze situations calmly. White Divine revealed a pleased smile, saying Lin is very cautious, which is commendable. He can't disclose too much about the trial. What White Divine can tell Lin is that this opportunity is extremely rare. Originally, Lin didn't qualify to participate. It's a personal favor White Divine offering to Lin. After listening to White Divine's words, Lin quickly made a decision. He will participate. Since the White Divine had personally come to invite Lin, not participating would be tantamount to disrespecting him. White Divine's hand shimmered with light, and several items appeared. The first reward was 100,000 points, which was the national top scorer's reward given by the Empire. Added to the points he obtained from the final examination, Lin now had over 130,000 points. White Divine handed a card to Lin which had all the points stored inside. The second reward is also an achievement as the national top scorer. 1 basic skill scroll and 1 intermediate skill scroll. The third reward is based on Lin's performance in the battling realm, an additional reward just for Lin, an entry qualification for the Divine Tower. As for the specifics about the Divine Tower, Lin will naturally learn once he gets to the Xiajing Academy. White Divine didn't elaborate further. Lin quickly gathered his things and followed White Divine outside. A rune flew out, transforming into a teleportation array. Both Lin and White Divine stepped into the array, disappearing in a brilliant flash of light. Principal Lu sighed. The streets at night were incredibly quiet. No one would know that this seemingly worn-out house had produced 2 students of the Xiajing Academy in 2 consecutive years, one of whom was even the national top scorer. Principal Lu's eyes, filled with hope, gazed in the direction of Xiajing. "Give it your best, child," he said. His words were filled with warmth and hope. Soon they arrived at Xiajing Academy. A massive stone gate came into view. White Divine commented, "This gate serves as both an entrance and a weapon." White Divine led Lin to the student residence where someone was already waiting. Upon seeing White Divine, the person quickly approached and respectfully greeted him. Being able to have White Divinely personally welcome Lin was considered a great honor. In the entire empire, very few could enjoy such treatment. Lin's expression was calm, and his tone equally so. With just a few simple words, White Divine left Lin with the student. Politely, the student inquired about a few basic information. Lin nodded. Yes. His tone remained neutral. The student felt slightly awkward. The Xiajing Academy was not only large in terms of academic buildings, but also had an expansive residential area. He explained that there were several choices for student residence. Dormitories for 4, 2, or just 1. Dormitories for 4 and 2 can be paid in gold coins or points, and others can only be paid in points. There are also options for detached villas, and villas with their practice rooms. The costs for the different accommodations varied significantly. After the student's detailed explanation, Lin learned a lot. The student suggested that Lin should save his points, as there would be many occasions in the future when he would need them. Lin understood that he should be more frugal with his spending. However, he neither had any gold coins, nor did he wish to share a room with someone else. Hence, he chose the single dormitory. The student sighed, thinking in his mind, "The whims of the wealthy. Lin will feel thrifty now, but Lin will regret it when he realizes how hard it is to earn points." When they arrived at Lin's room, the man asked Lin to hand over his identity card, as he needed to verify. The student held a device, swiping Lin's card through it, and then Lin provided fingerprint confirmation. With a beep, points were deducted. The student's eyes widened in shock, letting out a surprised yelp. He couldn't believe Lin had so many points. The student rambled on, and just before leaving, he suddenly reminded Lin to remember to buy a communicator tomorrow, as it'll be quite inconvenient without one. The single-room dormitory wasn't spacious, but was neatly and simply arranged. Sitting on the bed, Lin began to meditate, restoring his spiritual energy. The night at Xiajing Academy wasn't as quiet as one might expect. Looking out of the window to see the rest of the academy, Lin could see wave after wave of energy fluctuations. They never seemed to cease, one wave followed by another, incessantly. The next day, someone knocked on the dormitory door. Opening it, Lin's eyes revealed both surprise and delight. It was Ning Yi, whom he hadn't seen in days, standing lively at the door. She said with a smile, "What's the matter? Don't recognize me anymore?" Lin gave a slight smile. Of course he did. Ning Yi giggled and motioned for Lin to join her for breakfast. Close to the residential area was the academy's cafeteria. Even early in the morning it was bustling with diners. Ning Yi quickly grabbed a tray of food. When it was time to pay, Lin presented his card. When noticing Lin was paying using points, Ning Yi told Lin he could use gold coins here. Whenever Lin can use gold coins, he definitely shouldn't use points. Lin whispered, saying he didn't have any gold coins. Ning Yi slapped her forehead. If Lin didn't have coins, he should just say so. Ning Yi had plenty and didn't want Lin to waste his points. Lin just smiled, saying, "It's okay." Ning Yi sighed with relief. Thank goodness it was just 5 points. When Ning Yi saw Lin's remaining points, she was so shocked she nearly dropped her steamed bun. After they finished eating, she still couldn't help but remind him not to spend points recklessly, no matter how many he had. Lin pulled out the Goblin King's crystal core and presented it to Ning Yi. Holding the core, which sparkled like a ruby, Ning Yi's eyes radiated joy. She asked Lin if he knew its value. Lin wasn't quite sure, but Ning Yi explained that it was the core material for the Goblin King's ring, worth at least 1,000,000 gold coins. Lin didn't seem to mind. Ning Yi had previously given him a valuable skill scroll as well. Seeing how much Ning Yi cherished the Goblin King's crystal core and accepted it, Lin smiled softly. Ning Yi took Lin on a tour of different parts of the academy, and finally, they headed to the administrative office to complete Lin's enrollment. Lin inquired about his sister's records. While there was an enrollment entry, the details were blank. When he asked why he couldn't find any information on his sister, Ning Yi speculated she might be on a confidential mission for the academy, or possibly joined the Creator Academy. Listening to Ning Yi's explanation, Lin was reassured. Ning Yi, with a comforting smile, said it was time for the real business. They entered a classroom filled with students. A young female student approached Ning Yi upon seeing her. Ning Yi introduced Lin, mentioning he was this year's top national scorer. The female student shook hands with Lin and introduced herself as Tao Tao, a level 23 elf knight. Lin introduced himself as a level 17 necromancer. Suddenly, someone tapped their magic staff and disdainfully looked at Lin, his voice laden with arrogance and conceit.